Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. You may recall that a little over a year ago I sat down and decided I wanted to map out the electrical system in the house. Basically figure out what breaker every electrical outlet, every light switch, everything in the house is that's electrically run, so that if I ever need to shut off a particular outlet, I know how to do it very, very easily. I did that in my old house in California, and you may recall that I created a scale model of my entire property that includes all the walls in the house and the location of all the outlets and what breaker they're on and all that stuff. And that was a good start. Now, shortly after that, I attempted to do the same thing with a sprinkler system. There's 12 different stations on the sprinkler head and nearly 100 sprinkler heads in the backyard. And so I tried taking a picture of that I created from that master document and turning on all the heads and trying to mark on the map where everything was. Well, it didn't really help a whole lot because there's a lot of heads that are literally right next to each other that do different things. There'll be maybe one head that's doing a 360 pattern and maybe kind of filling everything in within 5 feet of the head, and then 12 inches away there'll be one of these big long distance heads that's designed to cover a large area. And so I decided that my original map wasn't all that good, and I decided to do a little bit better this time. I went out and bought a bunch of those little blue flags that you can buy at Home Depot and literally ran the sprinkler system multiple times, tracked down where every head was, and put a little flag at its location and numbered them so I know which station each of the heads is on. And let me show you what I have so far. See, I bought a whole bunch of these little flags here, and every place I found in a sprinkler head I put one of these flags and then wrote on it what sprinkler station it's on. And so I got these flags all over the yard. See what I mean about different flags that are two different sprinkler heads that are inches apart from each other. One of those is just a half moon pattern that kind of fills in this area. The other one, along with 3 or 4 area heads, spray water over about a 20-foot radius, and it'll enable me to kind of do this large backyard and get everything filled in. Well, like I said, it took me a few days to get all the flags all over the yard marked, so I know where all the heads are. And now I want to take that master document I have and really seriously measure out the location of all these heads and place them on the map where they are, and then once again locate which sprinkler head is controlled by what station. So like I said, I've got all the flags out. Next thing I got to do is just go measure it. Alright, so this is that document that I told you about, where I have all the electrical outlets, and this is showing just everything in the house. And I've actually modified the document a little bit to also include all the stuff that's in the backyard. I got the pool, the shed, all the garden stuff, the patio, the driveway in the front, patio in the back, the garden here, the garden in the corner of the yard. And this is now going to enable me to easily decide where everything is. I also put a grid pattern on here so that I can easily tell what a foot is, because every one of these little gray boxes here now represents 1 foot. And so I can easily mark where things are, measure where the outlets are, measure where the sprinkler heads are, and place them accurately in the yard. So that's the next step now, is we're going to go through them one by one, find every head, find exactly where it is, and get it back into a position where we can put it all on this document and have one big master document. This is a big, massive file that I created. If you print it out at real size, it's going to be 100 inches by 120 inches. So that's really a big, massive document. Ultimately, I think what I want to do is take it to Kinko's and have them print it out on their large format printers, see if I get like poster size. And then I'll have just a hard copy of the printout of where everything is in the yard. But like I said, it's got to start by marking every outlet or marking every sprinkler head and get it on here. And so that is our task for today. Let's mark out all these sprinkler heads. All right, several hours have passed by, and what I ultimately decided to do was break up the yard into 4 sections, 2 halves in the front yard, 2 halves in the backyard. And I basically just printed out a low-res copy of that section of the yard, and then I went out in the yard, looked at where the flags were, marked them on the ground, on the pages there where they belong, and came in and used these notes to create the final document with all the layout of the house, everything to scale, all of the sprinkler heads where they were going. And honestly, this provides a lot more detailed information about how the sprinkler system is laid out, which is hopefully going to at some point give me kind of a clue of how they routed the plumbing around here, because this is still part of the house that I don't have a really clear image of. But you know, kind of seeing how the outlets or how the sprinkler heads are distributed there kind of gives you an idea how it is they did things. And so basically I turned these rough drawings here into this. So this is basically just the layout of the house, and of course I can add in the where all the breakers are for the electrical stuff. I drew in what the yard looks like, and then I went through here and added all the sprinkler heads all over the place. So you can really kind of get an idea where everything is and how everything is distributed. Now this looks really kind of low res and blurry, but the truth is it's very high res when you blow it up all the way. That's like full size right there. So you can clearly see, you know, where everything is. You can see the individual sprinkler heads. Basically I listed them as sprinkler head and what channel they're on. So when it says S7, that's on channel 7, channel 10, all that. And so it really kind of helps me kind of get an idea, a little bit better of an idea of how the whole yard is laid out and where everything is. And I think this is going to ultimately turn out to be kind of the master document of this house. I'll keep the file, but at this point I think what I'm going to do is run over to the copy place and see if they can print this out for me at a poster size image here. And then, you know, I can just roll it up in a tube, and if I need it, boom, everything is here. But right now this is the master document of the whole house, and this is going to help a lot in terms of figuring out what's happening where and when. All right, I'm back from Kinko's, and I gotta say I can't be more pleased with how well this thing turned out. This is a very, very clear image. Everything looks fantastic on it. It's a 30 by 36 inch document that they printed out on a kind of heavy stock paper. It's a 46-pound page, and so it's real thick. It'll hold up real well, and you know, you could just see all the details on it here. Everything looks fantastic. So very, very happy with it. Got all the electrical in there, got all the sprinkler heads distributed all around the yard. So yeah, this was time well spent. I still have the digital document and can go back and revise it if I make any modifications. But as of this point, this is what the house is at this point, and if I need to go and figure out where things are and how it's all hooked up and all that, we are good to go. So I noticed that Kinko's was having a little bit of problem dealing with my document. My original document, you gotta remember, my property is 100 feet wide by 120 feet long. And so I did a 12-to-1 ratio. So basically every inch on the Photoshop document is a foot in real life. And so if I were to print this out at the full size, which, you know, in the Photoshop document was 100 inches by 120 inches, basically what it would have been is it would have been 8.5 feet tall and 10 feet wide. So they scaled it down, and their computer was initially having a little bit of problem doing that. And it basically just, you know, tried chewing on it for a while and just never really got to the point where it was having any success. And so they actually loaded my document into a second machine and said, we're just going to load the document in at its full size and have the printer scale it down. And I said, okay, well, you can try that and see what happens. And I said, you know, after waiting a few minutes, it's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run off and do some errands and stuff like that and come back. And they said, perfect, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. And I came back, and at that point they said, yeah, we're almost done. It's almost printed out now. And I looked in the back of the room, and even from the back of the room I could see that it looked really, really good. So yeah, this is the final document of my house, and that is, I'm happy with how it turned out. So anyway, I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.